Hello, global studies students. We are going to do a little bit of annotating about the Costa Rican Constitution this evening. Our main question here is, why did Costa Rica abolish its military, or why did it get rid of its military? You've probably maybe done some background watching of the videos. It's kind of interesting, right? So let's take a look at the actual document that they produced in, I believe, 1948. For this. As always, our directions, right? We're highlighting. Blue is dates, yellow is key people, groups, places, pink topic sentences, green is diagram, and we now have orange, right? That we should highlight and also add a added feature and try to make some kind of definite or synonym for the word. As you read, you must write reactions and reflections in the margins, right? Write any comments, notes to yourselves, thoughts that pop into your head. 4, we have to complete the table at the bottom. And I think that is about it. So let's get rolling on this. All right. So this is the event is Costa Rica abolishes its military. I thought that was a pretty big main idea. So I decided to highlight that in pink. We have a couple of dates here. It seems to occur in 1948. The Costa Rican Constitution is 1948. What that would tell me is that they had gained freedom and that they are writing this Constitution in 48 for the new government that probably might take effect at the end of 48 or the start of 49. Let's take a look. So, of course, as most of our documents, this is not the entirety of the Constitution, but we have pulled out the parts that would be relevant to our search. So, Article 1, Costa Rica is a free and independent democratic republic. Costa Rica, I decided, is a group, right? It's a country, right? So I thought that was an important place since this is the country it's for. Article 2, sovereignty resides exclusively in the nation. And I decided to skip, like in between and just highlight sovereignty and nation, because I think that's a pretty big main idea, especially when we're talking about the rules inside of a nation. That's like, maybe one of the issues, around the world is each nation has its own laws, and sometimes you can do one thing in one place and you can't in another. So sovereignty guarantees that you have power within your own country and you can make the rules for your own country. No one's coming in there and telling you what to do. Article 3, no one may usurp sovereignty. Anyone who does it commits the crime of treason to the nation. Okay, so you usurp. Let's see, I saw at the top. Usurp, take away. Anyone, let's see, no one may take away sovereignty. Anyone who does it commits the crime. It says go around is what I was thinking, right? Kind of usurp or go around someone's power. So if someone tries to go against that, they're in trouble. They're treason, right? Article 5. We still really haven't gotten anything about the military yet, so hopefully that will come across here in a second. Let's take a look. Article 5. The national territory is bounded by the Caribbean Sea, the Pacific Ocean, and the republics of Nicaragua and Panama. I decided to highlight that yellow. Those are key places. Those are their surrounding, their neighbors, also the physical boundaries of the country. 6, the state exercises complete and exclusive sovereignty over the airspace above its territory, over its territorial waters within a distance of 12 miles. That's pretty standard. Universal water limits. Let's see here. 12 miles measured from the low tide mark along its shores, over its continental shelf, and its insular undersea base. It's been a long time since I've had geography. I'm going to leave that for one of you smarties to go out there and tell me what that is, right? I have an idea. Let's see here. In accordance with principles of international law. Yeah, 12-mile rule. Still nothing about the Army, though. Again, that word, we have a vocab word here. I think I kind of hit the sovereignty power, right? I put control out there too, just with it, because you really do with sovereignty. You make your own rules. In my classroom, we talked about how like home rule in Ohio, that's why one city offers someone tax breaks and the other city has to compete against it because each city has its like own kind of sovereignty in that sense. But this would be like an international level, right? Each country has its own rules, right? Okay. Oh, good. I see the Army. Article 12. The Army. The Army. All right. So, yellow, that's a group of people. I'm definitely highlighting that. The Army as a permanent institution is abolished. Oh, my. You know what? I'm going to also highlight that. I'm going to go to here so that we can see that that's pink. I think that's worthwhile. I did when I went through it the first time. I didn't really think about it. See how it's nice when you go through things twice? Sometimes you can get a better understanding of it. The Army as a permanent institution is abolished, gone, kaputski, no more, not always. And that means there's no standing army, right? You can't have like a military force. Like we have a standing army, there's people, bases, folks all around the world. There shall be the necessary police forces for surveillance and the preservation of the public order. Okay, that sounds fair enough. That sounds like a police force, maybe slightly more. I know from my research and looking through it, a lot with drug trafficking. That's their big problem in Costa Rica, right? That's so a lot of their like local law enforcement is used to help with the drug trade, and I would go on a limb and bet the United States gives some money to them to help with that. So, all right, so they can have a police force. It can for surveillance and preservation of the public order. It's basically like make sure everything is on the up and up inside their country. Then it says military forces may only be organized under a continental agreement or for the national defense. In either case, they shall always be subordinate to the civil power. All right, I highlighted all that. I think that's all important. It's basically telling me, what martial, like law, right, like military, like what is going to be allowed there, like police forces, and then it goes on to tell me, like, we're not going to have military forces, but we could if we had a continental agreement. That would probably be something with their neighbors, or with like a North America, South America agreement, right? Or for the national defense. If maybe they were being invaded, maybe they could call up a military force, if that were the case. Okay, but in both cases, either way, continental agreement or national defense, they are subordinate to the civil power. Okay, that means there's not a general making the final decisions. It would be a person who had been elected in that, what's that called? Democratic Republic. Right? So someone who had been elected by the people, not someone who's, making deals just, like for whatever, for the military purposes. It should be mentioned too. I think somewhere I read somewhere that was also one feasible possibility why the guy didn't want the military in the first place. Cause, didn't, if you don't have a military, it can't have generals having coups and taking over and stuff. One possible reason too. Let's see here. So I think those were all important. I liked all that. I'm gonna highlight all that. They may not deliberate or make statements or representations individually or collectively. Okay, so the military, that is. Okay, can't make statements. All right, Article 77. I'm not going to count that really under the pink. I don't think that that's really as important for us. You could put that pink. I think either way it could go. I think it's just basically looking how they can represent themselves to the public. All right, Article 77. Ooh, I have pink here too. Public education shall be organized as a comprehensive process, correlated in its various phases from preschool to university education. All right, so we're talking what? When you go to preschool, 3 to 4 years of age until about 22-ish. And I believe, let's keep reading. I think that's important, and I'm going to highlight that. I think that's a main point. I think that's really important because if you're not paying for this, like your military, you probably have a little more money in the bank to pay for things like this. Article 78, preschool education and general basic education are compulsory. You have to do it, mandatory. Preschool education and general basic education, compulsory? Phew, I had to fight for vouchers to get into preschool. Ooh, I wasn't teaching at Shaker yet. It was a different time, kids. These levels and the diversified education level, what the heck's that mean? Diversified education level, are in the public system, free and supported by the nation, by the taxes. Let's see. I said compulsory was a must do. Diversified education level. Oh, okay. So that's an education that's appropriate for the individual. I might do college. You might do a trade school. Both are paid for. It's preparing you for adulthood, like where they don't want to have to pay for you, right? They want you to go out, do your thing, make your money, come home, pay the taxes so that we can pay for the next generation, right? That's how it works. Okay. So I had those both as, definitions as vocabulary. I mean, it is like this is a big deal. I think I probably would have hit it with pink the first time, but what probably stopped me is I was like trying to stay focused on the abolishing of the military, and so that's like maybe why I don't know, or maybe I had just hit it here and I didn't feel the need to keep adding on. You could, I think, though. I don't think it would matter if you pinked this up too. Okay. Public expenditure in state education, including higher education, shall not be less than 6%. Oh my gosh, everybody, we have a figure. We have a green figure. I got so excited I was able to use the green highlighter. All right, so we had 6% per annum of the gross domestic product. Oh my gosh, GDP. Man, the economics people, they probably either love it or don't love it. I don't know. I don't even know about the economics people. All right, so gross domestic product, it's just a measurement tool for countries. Okay, it's what you're producing. It's kind of like giving you like maybe an indication of the wealth or the stability of the country's economy. But it's a measurement tool, right? It's a measurement tool where you can compare different countries. Okay. And so what's that going to do for us? I don't know. In accordance with the law, that means they have to spend 6% of whatever they're pumping out, right? So if their GDP equals out, like, let's keep it simple, I don't know, $100, obviously it's going to be in the millions and billions, maybe not billions but millions. Okay. If it's going to be like $100, they have to spend 6% or $6 of that on education. Okay, guaranteed right off the top. Okay, good stuff. It's great. I like it. Okay, the state shall facilitate the pursuit of higher studies by persons who lack monetary resources. Oh my gosh. The Ministry of Public Education, through the organization established by law, shall be in charge of awarding scholarships and assistance. Okay, so they're going to help you out, right? So it must be some kind of pay as you play. So it's not all free, right? But we're sinking a lot of money in there, and if you can't pay for it, we'll give you some vouchers. So I did not do the research on this, but it sounds like a system where there may be as need based, right? Like, so if I'm, making lots of money, I'm probably not going to get a lot of money, right? But they are probably paying something towards it to keep the cost lower in the first place, if that makes sense. All right. I kind of talked through a lot of the stuff I was thinking as we went in. The stuff that I'm talking about out loud, you would want to put out in the margins while you're doing this. The comprehension questions. Under what circumstances could Costa Rica organize an army, and what restrictions would be placed on it? Well, that's up there, right? Contextual evidence. It says they could organize an army with a continental agreement or for national defense, but in both situations, the newly organized army would be under civilian control. All right. And then two, what does Costa Rica promise to fund instead of devoting money to an army? Well, that would be education, right? And they even promise 6% of their entire, gross domestic product. Okay. Summary, it's a constitution, part of the Constitution. Set up in 48 after they won independence, there was a conscious effort to not have a military and to purposely spend more on education. And then questions. I thought to myself, how feasible is this if someone wants to take over, right? If someone wants to just roll in and you don't have a military, which would probably be true, if you were like Russia, China, United States, giant country, lots of territory, lots of stuff to take, right? But this is a little Costa Rica. And so, like, it really isn't feasible. Like, how big of an army could it have? I mean, like, it couldn't stop. You get what I'm saying? Like, if you spend a lot of money on it, it's a kind of a waste of money in a sense. But I guess you can make the argument that's a waste of money for everybody if everybody would just stop, right? Um, so I don't know what you think about that, but they couldn't keep a superpower away. Certainly, it's such a small nation, right? They'd just be like taken away. And wouldn't they need some kind of protection, right? Something. I mean, now they do have a military. They said they could make a military. Takes a minute to get militaries rolling, though, so probably not too good there. They have a police force, which would have weapons and stuff, so they could kind of defend the inside. But here's what I really think in the Costa Rica case is what helps them, right? They are close to the United States. And historically, right, looking at the Monroe Doctrine, which said Europe, you stay over there, deal with your stuff. America will stay over here, we'll deal with our stuff, right? And that was just like, we just said that on some paper. And then, like when Teddy Roosevelt said, I will smack you with a big stick. And he's put this Roosevelt corollary on there. And he said, no, we really will use like weapons and stuff for European people if you come over here on this side of the hemisphere and mess with us, okay? So I think that's probably what's really doing it for Costa Rica. Without the military. But as you read on the other activities, there's other countries that don't have a military, right? So food for thought. All right, have a great afternoon, morning, evening, whatever it is, wherever you are. Keep trying, keep plugging away. You'll get to where you want to be someday. All right, take care. Thank you.